Hello friends, welcome back to our very echoey empty house. This is a house update and we have, I'd say, a kind of big reveal.
We got 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Stay tuned and we'll show you that.
Yeah. So, last week we got the notification that our cabinets were being installed. So let's give you a look. So, there it is. So here we have cabinets. They go all the way to the roof now. So I'll have an extra shelf in here when it all gets put in. All of these are pegboard, so they're adjustable to what we need. And this changed. It was a drawer with a cabinet underneath it. Now it's turned into 4 stacked drawers. Our dishwasher will be here. This is the ground zero of where everything started, which is our sink. And we have the 2 cabinets underneath as usual. Here there's a bit of a change. We have, previously there was like a slanted cupboard up here and then the range hood. And it was short enough that I could literally stand here and rest my head on it when I was cooking. So with the new design, we're putting a refrigerator, or our microwave here, and it'll have a vent and it'll be plumbed through this cabinet up to the top. And then this will be our stove. So, and what we added new was a spice cupboard, which is really just for resale. This is way too little of an area for the spices I own, but for somebody else it might be perfect. And because this one here, this drawer shrunk, and this used to be 4 drawers, and so now we have a drawer and a cupboard. And just like previously in our old home, we have pull-out shelves, which we can show you closer later. This was a cabinet with 2 pull-out drawers, and now it's just turned into 2 drawers. This hasn't changed a whole lot. It's our cupboard, our drawer with our 2 sliding out cupboards. Then these did get a little bit smaller because our oven got bigger. So here, this was a cabinet up here that we had our microwave in, and then we had our oven, a small drawer, a cabinet with 2 pull-out shelves. And this is going to be changing. So over here, this is our washer and dryer, and then cabinets over top, and obviously these are now taller and they're a whole lot deeper. And this used to be a pretty good size countertop with a drawer and a cabinet. Is this a good angle to show the pullouts? So those are the new pullouts. But because the refrigerator got bigger, that got smaller. And then we have a little inset cupboard over top. This is the same like we used to have, so it has the cupboard over top and the refrigerator, but like we said, we wanted a larger opening for the new refrigerators nowadays. Even ours stuck out quite a bit from the cabinetry, and I was telling Wes the other day, this is going to take some getting used to, because we can now no longer put anything on the side of our fridge because it's not going to stick out, because we have a cabinet here holding it in. This was pull-out drawers as a pantry. It remains the same, but it actually got wider than what I had. This was just a cabinet with 1 shelf, and now it's split and there's 2 shelves. There's 2 openings up there now. And as a result of the refrigerator getting wider, this came out quite a bit, basically up to the door jamb. And this entire area, yes, the oven grew, so it would naturally grow out. But because of this wood siding, they had to hide some damaged edge, so they purposely pulled out the kitchen a little bit to hide that. So, I alluded a couple times to a couple things changing.
And now our 1 step backward.
Yes, that was all our steps forward, and now we're going to go backwards. When we saw this, honestly, I was kind of upset because we had asked for certain things, and I call this the kitchen lost in translation because the cabinet person worked on it, but never actually came back and said, hey, this is what I'm doing to fulfill your wishes. So there's things that aren't quite right, but we had a really good conversation with our contractor, basically a 2-hour meeting, and the vast majority of it was about the kitchen, and then we covered the rest of the project and other things we want to have done. But problem number one that came up was these cabinets are so deep now, they're interfering with this breaker box. Yes, you can open it and get into it, but the breaker box itself isn't seated right. So the simple solution is to take this shallow recessed cabinet and switch it over to here, and then move these ones over. But there is a conversation of possibly moving this breaker box out to the exterior wall of, out here on the patio. But of course that costs money. So we have to decide if we're willing to pay that. Because switching the cabinets will be free, because that was an oversight on the cabinet builder to not give clearance for this, but we have to make a decision on that. On here, I was upset because I lost my little drawer here for all my barbecue supplies, because there's no drawers that are that wide in the kitchen. And in the course of talking about that and saying, yeah, it was surprising that this turned into drawers and it was a cabinet, everybody started looking at this, and we ended up finding actually a pretty substantial problem with the current setup, in that if the oven drawer door swings down, it'll more than likely hit the door handle. So this needs to be reworked regardless of my lack of a drawer. So our current plan is to have this whole thing remade, and this will more than likely end up being just one cavity rather than a split, because what's going to happen is our oven's going to come up substantially, and then underneath that I gain back my drawer, but it has to be high enough to clear the door handle. So there's going to be a dead space in the cabinet, but nothing's going to be happening. And then there'll be my drawer and the oven, and then this gets less tall. And then that's going to turn into cookie sheet pan storage, vertical storage, which is nice. I never even expected that. So this is definitely going to be reworked. And then
You're raising all that 6 inches.
yeah, it's significant. And it's interesting because previously my oven was very high, and people really didn't talk about it when they came in. But our contractor said that he personally removed our oven and remembered it was abnormally high. And now we know why, because there's a door handle. Also, this was abnormally low. And all we could think of is it had to do with the designer of the house was handicapped, and so they needed it lower. So what's concerning is when you put our measurements of our microwave and everything in here, it's going to be very low. It's going to stick out further than the cabinets down towards my stove. And if I'm going to stand here and look back to the back of my stove, it would be too low. So this is going to be the other change that's going to happen, is this cabinet's going to be redone. It's going to go up by 4 inches, and it's also going to come out some, because I want the microwave to be completely fitted. It's going to be streamlined, not sticking out or anything. I know we talked about the reason why it was originally sticking out was because it's plumbed to either have an external vent or a recirculating air, and with the migraines and the sensitivity smells, we don't want it recirculating. So we would prefer it to be actually plumbed. So we want it connected to there. And so if we cover the vents, it's not a big deal.
So that way it can be vented to the outdoors.
Yes. So this is the number 2 thing that'll be definitely happening. That whole area over there about the breaker box, we have to decide on. The other concern that popped up was the sink that we were shown is a 1 basin porcelain sink, which is wonderful. But I noticed it was kind of odd because the drain was over here. It wasn't centered, it was off to the side. And so I stand here going, the showroom sink has a drain over here, my plumbing's over there. That's a problem, because this entire cabinet's going to be taken up by plumbing, and I won't have any storage for cleaning supplies. So a question that's me going towards the counter people is if the sink can be switched so we can consolidate the plumbing and make this cupboard more useful. Another thing they talked about that we didn't even really consider is they're going to be taking the trim off of this window because we're having tile backsplash put up, and having this trim makes it very difficult to try to treat this little tiny piece of the wall. And so the idea is it's going to be tile coming up to the edge of the window and having like a gold or bronze, or it's a colored trim metal piece that goes on the edge. So, like we said, lots of steps forward, a couple steps back. And in the course of talking, we also went over the plans that we had for our bathroom that's included in the insurance work. And then we also went over the plans for our master bathroom, which is not included in the insurance. And now we're basically waiting for spreadsheets and numbers to come back from the contractor. So you can see the cost of the bathroom, where we stand with the insurance money, what's been used where, and just what the budget is to this point. So we can make decisions like if we're gonna move the breaker box or if we're gonna work on the master bathroom any more than it is. And one thing that did come up, and I think we talked about this in the last video, is the excess counter that's left over from the slab that we bought for the kitchen. We want to go into the master bathroom. And now that that counter has shrunk so much, we might actually have enough to do both bathrooms with the counter. But we won't know until the counter people come out and measure and give us any conclusions.
Thanks for going through a walkthrough with us. If you have any thoughts, suggestions, or anything you want to add, feel free to post in the comments. If you want to supply the money for the breaker box, feel free to send that too.
Just watching and subscribing and liking is enough. It really is. So, until next time, feel free to like and subscribe.
Have a great day.
Bye.